Okay, so for this video, what we're going to do is using the session view and using the scene names over here on the far right-hand side of the session view screen where we have the master track. We have our various scene names. And if we rename these scenes in a very specific way, we can kind of get our live set to do something special here. The first thing we can do is change the tempo of the live set instantaneously. Now, why would we ever want to do this? Well, let's say, for example, we're DJing. I tend to use Ableton Live every once in a while to DJ, and what I have for this example are 2 full songs of mine that I've warped out. Now, it's very important that your songs are warped, or your audio files, whatever they are warped. Otherwise, you won't hear the effect of the tempo change here. But we can get the scenes to change the tempo of the project instantaneously. Again, helpful if you're DJing. This can also be helpful if, let's say you're writing a track and you're using session view to sketch out your various sections of the song, intro, verse, chorus, bridge, etc. Maybe you have a section of the song, like the bridge, for example, you want to have it at a different tempo, or maybe even a different time signature. Now, time signature changes are another thing that we can do easily by renaming session view scenes. So I'll walk you through the process. It's really easy. Let me first just play you a little snippet of each of the songs we're going to be dealing with here. Little shameless self-promotion of my own music, groovy deep house stuff. Skip around. Just get a vibe for the different tracks here. And then on the second track, let's stop this clip, play the second clip back. This one's a little bit more of just a straight groove. But these two songs were recorded at different tempos. So this song was recorded at 122 BPM, and the second song, Into Oblivion, was recorded at 127 BPM. Now my project tempo is sitting at 125 BPM, sort of a happy medium between those two tempos. But let's say I'm doing a DJ set and I want to jump my project tempo to 127 BPM when I play this second song. And maybe even I want it to play at 122 BPM when I play the first song here. Now it's important as well that these clips be on different scenes. Now remember, the scenes are these horizontal rows of clips. So my clips are on 2 different scenes, and now if I go over here and I rename the scene, so let's rename this first scene, and I'll do that by clicking on it and pressing Command R. We'll say 122 for 122 and then BPM. You notice when I do that, when I have a number and then the letters BPM, Live recognizes that and it changes the scene launch button to this orange color. And what that means is if I launch the scene by clicking on it, my project tempo has just jumped to whatever tempo I told it to there. So let's stop playback. Let's go to the second scene. Remember, this song I mentioned was recorded at 127. Command R to rename it, 127 BPM. And notice here I didn't leave a space between the number and BPM. It doesn't really matter. As long as Live recognizes a number and the letters BPM, it will activate a tempo change when you launch the scene. So let's launch this scene. And you can see how now our project tempo has jumped to 127. If we were to go back, we would jump back to 122. And now it's important to note, once you change the tempo with the scene launch, it will stay at that tempo. If I launch the next scene, for example, which is just going to stop everything, it stays at that tempo unless we launch another scene that tells it to jump to a different tempo. Or perhaps if we were to automate, you could MIDI map the project tempo and automate that as well. You could change the tempo like that as well. But it will stay at that tempo until it receives a command to jump to a different tempo. Now, we can also use this technique with time signature. So let's say you're writing a song with a 4/4 time signature, which means 4 quarter notes per measure. But maybe you have a bridge or something and you want to have the bridge change time signatures to something like 3/4, which would be 3 quarter notes per measure. We can do that easily as well using a session view rename. So let me do this just so we have something on the next couple of scenes here. I'm just going to Option, click and drag these down just to duplicate these 2 clips. And on this third scene, let's Command R, and if we rename this 3/4, and I press Enter, again we see the playhead has changed to orange, the scene launch button has changed to orange. And what this means is when I launch this scene, my time signature for my project will jump to 3/4 instead of 4/4. Now, because both of these songs were written in a 4/4 time signature, we're not really going to hear the playback of the songs affected, but we will hear how Live counts back the time using the metronome. We'll hear that be affected. So I'm going to turn the metronome on for this example. And let's simply click on the scene launch button here. You can see how the time signature has changed. I'm going to stop this clip for a moment. We'll just listen to the metronome for a second. But you can hear how the metronome is ticking along at 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We have more of this traditional waltz style time signature. And if we were to go down here and let's say we want to reset it back to a 4/4 time signature, we could Command R, rename the next scene, 4/4. Notice the scene launch button changes, and if we play that, we jump back to a 4/4 time signature. Let's stop that, and you can hear now if you count along in your head to the metronome, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're back to that 4 quarter notes per bar. Now, a word of note here, you can also control click or right click on one of the scene names, and it'll bring up a context menu, and you'll see here you have the option to edit launch tempo and edit launch time signature. Now that's exactly what we've done up here, but if you want to, you can do both. So let's say we want this to jump back to 125 BPM, and we also want to, let's control click again, we'll choose edit launch time signature. We can also have it jump to a different time signature, maybe 5/4. So let's just copy another clip down so we can hear the example there. And if we launch this scene, our tempo has changed and our time signature has changed. Let me stop the clip and we'll just turn the metronome on so you can hear the time signature change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is similar to the time signature for Dave Brubeck's classic jazz track, Take 5, if you're familiar with jazz music. If not, go check it out. You can hear a good example of a 5/4 time signature. But this is a quick and easy way that we can change either the project tempo or the project time signature by using scene renaming, just by renaming the scenes. Hopefully that's helped.